Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Alphonso Speaks, and welcome back to more of the Darrell Brooks trial. Today, I wanted to take a look at a longer segment. This is one that I recently rewatched, like on my own time, and I just wanted to kind of revisit it with you guys because there's so many instances in these sentencing remarks from Darrell Brooks that just really, you almost can't believe that he says some of the stuff that he says, which is saying something because the entire trial was basically that. But what I find so interesting is he has so many moments where he's basically trying to put on this front as if he's like, feeling brave and, calling people out and stuff. But you'll notice when he calls certain people out, he doesn't make eye contact with them. In fact, he tries not to make eye contact with anybody unless he's trying to garner sympathy. When he's doing his stuff where he's going at somebody, you can typically see that he's looking away from them. And to me, that's like a cowardice trait. I'm sure most of you would agree with what I'm saying there. But I just wanted to take a look at it because he spoke for 2 hours, and we're going to try to watch all 2 hours of when he was speaking. And, just pay attention to his body language. Just pay attention to what he says and how he says it. He's a very, very interesting character because, again, I've said this so many times during the course of this series that he is not that different from a lot of people that we have in our own lives. And, while watching this trial is entertaining, it's also a good idea to pay attention to those behaviors and try to see who in your life basically has those same behaviors. Because if they do have those same behaviors, something needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? we gotta check people where they are before they get too far off course. But without further ado, we'll get into it. Make sure you guys like the video, share it if you love it, and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Alphonso Speaks is officially back, and we're back consistently. And if you haven't done so already, check out my new series, Independent Voter Reacts, following the election. I know a lot of people are kind of disassociating from the election because it's just been one big circus. But my aim of that series over there is to kind of help neutralize the coverage that we have there. So I'll be covering some more stuff today. Donald Trump answered questions for an hour in Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to be watching that one. And I believe Kamala Harris just did a press conference on the tarmac as well. So I can find those two videos and hopefully have episodes of those coming out. But without further ado, Darrell Brooks and his sentencing remarks, everybody.
No. All right. Then at this time, the court will close the Zoom. The proceedings are being live streamed, and family and friends can watch that way as well. Mr. Brooks, I'll turn it over to you then. This is your opportunity to address the court. What, if anything, would you like to say, sir?
I do have a lot to say. I'm gonna like to stand up if I may.
Go ahead.
It's emotional. I apologize for taking so long. I want to start first.
No, this is the absolute best part where he starts by giving us a sermon. It's awesome.
By giving glory to God. I believe in Jesus Christ wholeheartedly. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I believe that he was sent here by the Father.
Now, this is very interesting because, like, I really, really want to know. I know a lot of my subscribers are religious, and I know a lot of you guys aren't. Myself, I'm not really religious, though I am a believer. If you guys want me to go in more detail about that type of stuff, that could be a whole nother series. But I have no issue with Christians or Christianity, basically, is what I'm saying. How does it feel to you guys that are Christians, church-going people, to see somebody up here trying to preach the word of God after committing a heinous act like this? Now, I get it. In the Bible, Saul to Paul, that kind of stuff. I understand. But even still, does this seem like appropriate to you guys? I feel like I already know the answer, but I just want to hear if anybody has like some different perspectives on it. Just let me know.
To die for all of our sins, everybody. Everybody in this courtroom today. Everyone walking this planet. Mostly for those of us who will believe. I believe that he was crucified on the cross at Calvary. And he shed his blood on that cross. And he died. And he was buried. And that he rose again after 3 days to glory. Took his glorious place at the right hand of the Father. The Bible says that he was exalted, given a name that is above all names, so that at the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and every tongue shall confess that Jesus is Lord, to the glory of God the Father.
When do y'all think is the last time before he ended up in Waukesha County Jail for this attack? When do you all truly believe is the last time that he opened the Bible, said a prayer, went to a church? When do you all believe the last time he actually did that was? Because, like, it's always an interesting phenomenon how when somebody ends up in a situation like this, they turn to religion. And I truly believe that he thought religion would get him out of this situation if he prayed hard enough for his freedom. God, I promise I won't do it again. If you just give me another chance, I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna get right. Bro, it's too late, man. It's too late for all of that. And odds are you wouldn't have kept your word anyway. So when do you guys think is the last time? I'm curious.
It's not just something that I was taught by my family. It's something I believe in my heart. I just want to clarify one thing. A lot of references was made to one of the things I said regarding my conscience being clear. And having the time to think about it last night and to understand that the victims have the right to feel how they want to feel. They have.
See, I have a problem with him saying that like that. Victims have a right to feel how they want to feel. They didn't want to feel like this. You forced them to feel like this. So that's not that's another form of a gaslighting statement. That's basically the equivalent of I'm sorry you feel that way.
Have the right to their opinions, and understanding that there's a lot of emotion, pain, frustration, anger, hatred, a lot of emotions. But I don't want that comment to be twisted. I don't want that comment to become another narrative that's ran with and taken out of context.
I'm in this narrative stuff, man.
That comment was made is because I made the decision to rededicate my life to Christ when this tragedy happened.
What did I just say? What did I just say? He did it as soon as this happened because he thought that would get him out of this. He doesn't care about religion and following the word of God and all that stuff. He doesn't care about any of that. All he cared about was, will this get me out of this situation or no? You know, that's why he started praying and reading his Bible. And he's looking for anything to get him out of this situation. And he's convinced that God is on his side. Well, I will say this, Darrell. The God that Christians believe in has not given up on you and your ability to be rehabilitated. But that does not mean that same God will get you out of the punishment that you rightfully deserve. It's just not going to happen.
In no way did that comment refer to not having any remorse, not having any understanding. It was strictly made to that point that I have repented, that I have asked God for forgiveness, that I have sent many prayers up. Learning how to wrap my head around this whole situation has been extremely hard. Extremely hard.
And again, you know, he talks about the situation as if he's a victim of the situation and not the perpetrator. He's very consistent with that. And it's like, it's super, it just shows a extreme lack of self-awareness.
You get...
Oh, this statement right here is just mind-blowing. Because, like, what do you mean?
Minimal time to... You get minimal time to reflect in a place like this. But one of those minimal times that you get to reflect in a place like this is when you're alone in your cell.
Bro, that's literally like 90% of your time. So what do you mean you get minimal time to reflect in a place like this? That's all you get to do is reflect. That's all you've been doing for a year is reflecting, because you sure as hell have not been preparing for this case. We'll tell you that much.
But it's just you and the walls. One of the victims made a comment about trying to understand why this happened. That's a question I struggle with myself. The why, the how. how could life ever get this far away from what it should be? Regardless of what a lot of people may think about me, about who I am, about my family, about my beliefs, I know who I am. God knows who I am. And I don't have any words of anger, any shots, so to speak, to throw back. As I said before, I had to look inside myself and understand why the comments was being made. Why people feel the way they feel, and they have the right to.
You see that face right there? That is the face of a woman who's just waiting for two simple words. I'm sorry. Or I apologize. That's all she's waiting for. And that look on her face is a look of dumbfoundment of, what are you talking about, and why haven't you just said sorry to the victims yet? Because you were acting like a complete a-hole the day before this, while the victims were giving their impact statements. You were sitting there laughing, giggling, making stupid faces with that dumb mask on, and now you don't want to have the mask on. Now you want to, again, take the mask off so that people can see your face and feel sorry for you. I just don't understand a person like this. Like, how did you think you were going to do what you did and walk away free back into society? That's crazy.
If I may.
You just need to turn forward, sir. I don't know that they're ready for that yet.
Respect it. I think it's important to state why I did want to turn. Comment was made about this mask. It's something that I've worn the whole year of this incident. I don't. Well, I'm not gonna say don't, but I don't feel like I needed to go in too wild. Chose to wear this. There are a lot of different reasons why. But it definitely has nothing to do with hiding anything. There is nothing to hide. When you're on TV every day, when your life is being dissected for the world to see, when your family's on TV every day in some capacity, when you're on pretty much every social media platform, what is there to hide from? I want each and every victim in this incident, family members, those who lost loved ones, those who are still healing. I I want you to know that no matter how you felt during this year, no matter how you felt yesterday, I want everyone to know, also the community of Waukesha, I want you to know that not only am I sorry for what happened, I'm sorry that you could not see what's truly in my heart.
Gaslighting apology. Gaslighting apology. A real apology is just, I apologize. I was wrong. Not, I'm sorry for what happened, but I'm also sorry that you can't see how sorry I am for what happened. Well, maybe we'd be able to see how sorry you are for what happened if you were actually sorry about what happened.
That you cannot see the remorse that I have. That you cannot listen to all the phone calls that I've made to my family. That you cannot hear all the prayers that I've said in my cell. That you cannot count all the tears that I've dropped in this year. The truth is hard a lot of times. I'm not very old by age standards, but I've been alive long enough to understand that a lot of people are comfortable with hearing what they want to hear, being told what they want to be told.
You would be one of those people. Just saying.
And being okay with that. It's easy to accept what's on the surface. It's easy to accept what's being put out there. It's harder to pull back the veil. It's harder to look deeper than the surface. And regardless to the truth, I understand that there are many people that would never forgive what happened. I have to be okay with that. And I hold no ill will towards them for that. I have to be okay with the fact that people will be angry. Some for a long time, some forever. I think it was clear with respects to how I'm viewed. I will not respond to those comments in anger either. I want to also say that it is not me that can take any pain away.
Yes, because all you can do is inflict it. We understand.
Replace what was lost. Give back joy, happiness. There's so many other things that was lost that day. I think all that comes with belief in Christ. I believe that all that comes with time. It's a process. It's a process that we all have to go through. I noticed a lot of things that I've said over the duration of this trial were there's a lot of misconception. I don't consider myself to be a man of God yet. It's something that I'm learning with time, with faith, with study. Lord willing, I will make it to that point at God's appointed time. Something that I'm learning. For anyone that doesn't think that I've spent time in the scriptures even before this, you're mistaken. Passages were quoted from Romans 6:23 in particular. The wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is death. That's Romans 6:23. It's a verse I'm very familiar with and I've read numerous times. Countless other passages are all passages that I'm familiar with. But the thing about scripture is not only studying and reading it, it's about applying it to your life. Applying it.
Another sermon from Reverend Darrell E. Brooks. You know, it's felt like an hour since he started talking, but it's only been 18 and a half minutes, guys. We got a long way to go.
It's not about just reading it or being able to quote it. It's about living it. At times during this, doing all these proceedings, mostly trial, I've become frustrated at times. I want you, Your Honor, to know, I want the entire court to know that regardless to what you may think about those particular incidents, they were not personal. Being here throughout this year and the constant learning how to deal with everything, learning how to take everything in.
That's an ironic statement, because in prison, boy, you gonna learn how to take everything in, man. Good luck. Good luck.
What you see, what you hear, things being shouted at you, the the threats and, you know, everything that you have to deal with just being here. It was like a culmination. Sometimes you get so frustrated because you feel like your hands are tied. You don't know what to do. And for a person like me, it's easy for me to get to that point. And so they would come out in frustration. I take responsibility for that and apologize to you, Your Honor, in the court. Nothing about it was personal. It was a part of me that felt that I haven't been able to defend myself. And I think it was just the pot boiling over. I was wrong for not being able to control myself the times that I wasn't me. For long as I can remember, I've dealt with a lot of issues. And going back to what I said a little bit earlier about what people see on the surface. A lot of people don't understand what it is to battle mental health issues. Not just that, but the difficulties of life in general. The childhood I had. Not having a father, having to see my mom sometimes work 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to support us. I remember being a child and me and my sister, my mom only had 2 children. My sisters passed away. But I remember being a child and me and my sister and my mom standing in the welfare line to get milk, to get cheese, bread, Spam. And when you're a kid, you don't understand that. You think it's normal.
It's a lot more normal than running over dozens of people at a Christmas parade. Let me tell you something. Like, there's nobody who's going to use that as an excuse for doing what he did. And the people I have sympathy for are the ones who grow up in the hood. Maybe they commit crimes in the hood because that's the lifestyle they've been shown their entire lives. It's very hard to get yourself out of that mindset when that is your surrounding. Like, the energy of where you live is that. But this is a man who went to a totally different area about 25 minutes from where he actually grew up in Milwaukee. And ran over a Christmas parade full of people he did not know. This wasn't no drug deal or some gang beef or whatever the case may be. This wasn't, oh, we gonna go spin the block because dude over there just took one of our guys out, so now we gotta go get our revenge. This wasn't one of those situations. This was just idiotic. So, with all due respect to those who do have that kind of story, who made bad decisions because of their upbringing, I totally understand. Like, I'm from District Heights, Maryland. Like, that's not exactly the best, safest place in the world. I remember growing up, and the police chased down and shot somebody, like, literally right next to my house, in the woods right next to my house. So, yeah, it's not like I've been sheltered my whole life exactly. But I will say one thing. My parents definitely instilled in me, like, hey, we're not products of our environment. We choose to make better decisions and to be, better people than who we are expected to be or set up to be. It really all does come down to choices, and sometimes those choices are harder to make. The good ones are not always easy to make, especially when everybody around you, your peers, are making, specific choices and decisions with their life. But again, that's a whole different discussion from what this is. This is somebody who had never been held accountable for anything a day in his life, who was allowed to, have his behavior go unchecked for so long, never did any work himself to get it under control. And if he did do any work, it wasn't consistent. And this is what it resulted in. Him making a split-second decision that he now has to pay for the rest of his life. And who knows how the afterlife is set up, right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine, guys, if God has it set up to where even after you die, you still have to fulfill the rest of your prison sentence that you acquired on earth? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So, what did he get? Like, he basically got like 1,000 years. The maximum I can see him actually like living through is probably about 40, maybe. That's if the general population doesn't get their hands on him. Right? Like, this guy, I see him getting very sick within the next couple of decades or so. Like, I just don't see him lasting. This guy's not living to 100. So just imagine if it was set up to where, like, oh, hey, you thought you were getting out of it because you died? No, sir. We have a special prison here where you're going to have to live out the rest of your prison sentence. That would be wild.
I remember living in apartment buildings infested with rodents and bugs. Pouring in cereal in your bowl and having bugs in it. A lot of people weren't raised like that, so it would be hard for them to pull back that veil and understand that. Physical abuse, by the people that are supposed to love you.
Again, it's ironic that he says this because that means he knows that it's wrong, and yet he still inflicted that on other people, including his girlfriend. Like, you can't make this sentencing remark, this hypocritical sentencing remark, when the whole reason that you're here is because of the abuse that you've inflicted upon other people. You can't sit here and try to gain sympathy through your stories of abuse that you suffered through. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
Trying to understand why your mind thinks the way it does, why you don't comprehend certain things. Why no one can provide the answers that you want. The fact of the matter is, I have at times been medicated. I have been in mental health facilities, only for a short time. I can honestly say that life was better. It helped. I think when you're going through something mentally that you don't understand, it always helps when you have people not so much that can relate. That also helps, but it's more, it's not the relating part of it, it's more of the that you can feel comfortable being yourself with. Someone to listen, someone to tell you that, hey, it's all right. You can't let your guard down. It's a lot. It's a lot. And back to what I said about truth. People are going to, like I said, believe what they want, and that's okay. But this needs to be said. What happened on November 21st, 2021 was not an attack. It was not planned, plotted.
Don't you guys just love how later on Attorney Opper like mocks him for the not thing? Like, it's hilarious, man. She's such a savage.
When you constantly hear that perpetuated, constantly pushed, constantly pushed, constantly pushed.
And actually, he has a point, but it hurts his case, because you're you're saying like this wasn't planned, it wasn't plotted. That's the scary part. It took you no planning, no plotting, no organization whatsoever in order to do something like this. All you needed was a spontaneous time and opportunity. And that's what you did for literally for no reason. Literally for no reason. There was nothing to gain from him doing this. Like, I don't think we fathomed that enough to like really understand. There is nothing he gained from doing this. You know, sometimes somebody will commit like a terrorist act and it's because they're loyal to an organization or something, or somebody paid them to do it and they were promised a certain like reward for it or something like that. Like, you'll see terrorist behavior like that. You will not see something like this where there's nothing to gain. And I know what people say, like, you know, he has made videos saying some pretty racist remarks towards white people. But I have a hard time believing that was his main motivation for this. I just think he's stupid. Honestly, I just think he's stupid. I don't think he cared who was on that parade route. Because it's not like, you know, Waukesha is a predominantly Caucasian area. But it's not like he went there randomly because he knew there was going to be a lot of white people there. No, he was arguing with his girlfriend before he just decided to spin the block out of anger. So I don't think it would have mattered if that was a predominantly black area. I think he saw something going on. He saw easy victims to take his anger out on, and he just mowed them down. And it's so crazy to me how you gained nothing beneficial from this. There's nothing that you could have been given to make this worth your while. Like, nothing. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. There was literally no benefit to this. Literally no benefit. It's crazy.
You wonder why? Why? This was not an attack.
It was. It was an attack. Attacks don't have to be planned and plotted. They just have to take place. It was an attack.
This was not an intentional act. No matter how many times you say it over and over, it was not. I have a lot of, and this has nothing to do with the victims, the families of the victims. And as a matter of fact, I'm grateful that they had the opportunity to voice their opinions and their frustrations and their angers, because I believe and hopefully that will alleviate some of the wounds. I could never point a finger at them and say they're wrong for what they said, their opinions, how they feel. Never. And I won't do it. I won't do it now, and I won't do it ever. They're well within their rights to feel how they feel. I felt a lot of frustration and anger yesterday, not towards any of the victims. It was towards Miss Susan L. Opera. And I won't even throw shots back at her. Again,
Y'all see Attorney Hopper taking notes. Like, she's writing stuff down, man. She's ready to clap back when it's her turn. She's like writing stuff down that he says, so she can make sure she addresses every little thing he has to say.
I choose to take the high road.
Man, God, his self-awareness is really lacking if he's choosing these words. You guys remember the whole, like, like things appear when you're driving in your car in the side mirror. Like, why would you say that? And then now he's talking about I choose to take the high road. No, you chose to take Main Street. That's what you chose. That's what you chose.
In spite of the clear language that was used by her, I'm not gonna fire back.
That woman's not scared of you.
I'm not gonna do that. Am I angry? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But so what? When it boils down to it, the whole prosecution team had a job to do. Can't be mad at somebody for doing their job. Attorney Basie, Attorney Witchow, I respect you guys. Regardless of what you may feel about me, I respect you guys. I really do. I respect you too, Attorney Opera. The difference between all you guys is, you, Attorney Opera, I don't respect how you did your job, and I never will. But I refuse to get in a name calling. I refuse to raise my voice. I refuse to do any of that. And I realized that last night. The part of me that I don't understand why it goes the way it goes had every intention to come in here and lay into you. Out of frustration and out of the fact of feeling that I needed to defend myself by some of the things you said. How you had the audacity to speak on situations that had nothing to do with this tragedy, as if you were there, as if you had intimate details, as if you knew everything that led up to those allegations. Just by reading the police report. I think every situation is unique in its own way. It all has different circumstances that leads to ultimately what ends up happening. Reading the police report doesn't give you the right to pass judgment on a situation that, frankly, is none of your concern. honestly, you would think for someone that's been doing your job as long as you have, you would think you would understand that.
Dude, I love the close-up shots of her because she ain't got an ounce of fear in her heart of this dude. And she's staring him down. And that's one thing that he won't do. He keeps looking away. I'm like, if you're going to talk to her, man. Look at her the whole time. Don't just look at her for dramatic effect. Like, look at her. She is staring you down. But, like, she's a woman of the law. Like, women of the law are like this, dude. They ain't scared of you. They ain't scared of nothing. That's why they're in the field that they're in. That's why they're good at what they do.
You would think that you have some kind of integrity. Even with that, not gonna bash, not gonna say anything disrespectful, not gonna call you anything other than your God-given name. As far as the integrity, though, I won't ever be able to wrap my head around why you did things the way you did it. Made reference to this being an open and shut case. Yet you needed a whole team to prosecute an open and shut case, as you say. And again, no disrespect to Attorney Basie, Attorney Whitchild.
No eye contact. He's a coward.
I feel like they was the reasons why your case had any strong points, not from you.
Look at Attorney Whitchild, bro. He's laughing. I never saw that before. He's actually laughing. He's covering his mouth. He's covering his mouth. He's laughing. Look at the dude in the top left. He's laughing too. They're all laughing at Darrell. Meanwhile, Sue Opper just looks like, bro, why don't you come say that to my face? Oh my God. Look at, just keep your eyes on the Attorney Whitchild. This is hilarious. Look at him. Yo, I've never seen that before.
31 years. You said, well, yeah, you did say 31 years that you've done this. 31 years. I don't believe you're that bright. Yet, I respect you having the resolve to take on something of this magnitude for this community. Can't do nothing but respect that. And regardless, when I leave this courtroom, I will have no ill feelings with anyone. I know this is being live streamed. I believe even in other countries. I've gotten some mail from Germany, Belgium, a lot of it hate mail, which doesn't. I stopped reading it months ago, so it doesn't really affect me. It's irrelevant. I do want to say something to everybody watching, as far as those who take the time, spend the energy and money to write and spew hate, not just against myself, but my family, my children. I have no value in anything that you say. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. Keep up the bad work. To everyone else, the people that have sent letters of support, I thank you for that, because it's not an easy thing to show love and support to someone who's the most hated man on the planet at this point right now in time.
You think everybody on the planet is thinking about you?
It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage to do that. And I thank you for that. My family thanks you for that. I want to say to the mother of my children, the mothers, excuse me, of my children, obviously I think I should start with the obvious, Erica Patterson. I want you to know, if you're watching, I always have love for you. You're one of the mothers of my children. I can never hate you. I refuse to go that route. Always have love for you. I always respect you. We got a beautiful daughter. I haven't always been right in the things that I've said, things I've done in regards to you. What I will say is, it always takes two. I pray that at some point you will reconcile with your children.
You know he said that just to try and embarrass her. Well, we see right through that.
And that you remember who I am here in my heart. That you remember that. My oldest son, who's an adult, his mother, beautiful, beautiful spirit. I thank her for the times that she was there to listen when no one else was, when I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on in life, and I was being pulled to this direction or that direction, and just couldn't figure things out. She would take the time to sit and listen, and I thank her for it. Times where I had nowhere to go, she would find me in the back of abandoned cars or trucks or something of that nature, and she would do things to help. You know, it's a lot of people, a lot of good people out there in the world still. She's one of them. I thank you, Angel. That's her name too, by the way, Angel. When I was all over the place mentally, couldn't sit still, couldn't make decisions, trying to figure out how life would go being young parents, the both of us. She never once judged me. She never once ridiculed me and downed me because of my issues. She always was willing to be there. I'm eternally grateful for that. And Jessica, my youngest daughter's mom, I believe it's a reason why God puts anyone in your life at the time that He does. You came into my life at a time where everything was chaotic. I didn't have a clue how to even begin to put one foot in front of the other. You came into my life at a time where I was pondering, what did I even have to live for? And in the midst of that, you gave me my daughter, my baby girl. I always get emotional talking about her in particular, because she's such a daddy's girl. We're very, very close. Very close. I felt like when Missy was born, that was God giving me a chance to make good on the mistakes I made with my older two children at the time. I felt like that was redemption. Everything that I didn't do right before I had the chance to right that wrong. She's probably the single-handed reason why I'm even still breathing.
It's a very powerful and sweet statement, but maybe not one I would have made in front of the victims of people. I mean, the family of people that I've killed and mauled and altered their lives forever. Maybe not put her out there as the single sole reason that I'm still breathing. Because if you weren't still breathing, none of this may have happened in the first place. So just maybe not the best thing to say at sentencing remarks.
She's such a light in my life. Such a light. She doesn't even understand the extent of everything that's going on. She doesn't know what it is not to be able to talk to me when she wants to be able to see me when she wants to. She just doesn't get it, and I know that. And I'm mindful that there are people in this community that feel the same exact way. That had lights in their life that were taken. So without being insensitive to that, I'll move past that. I just want to tell my baby girl that I love her. I love you, Missy. My baby boy. Was born in June, during the time that I've been here. His mother, Quita. I regret not being able to be there for the times that both of them needed me the most. It's not an easy thing for a woman to go through a pregnancy with virtually no help. Having to move residencies because of this tragedy, not feeling safe while she was pregnant, not feeling safe, receiving threats, things like that. And I wasn't there. I know what it's like to be at the birth of your children and to see them born and cut the umbilical cord and to do all those things. I've done that. And to not be able to do it for her and for him. To only know what he looks like because of pictures. For her to not feel safe to be in the city or be around my family members, to build that rapport, because she can't mentally deal with everything that comes with. And for me to not be able to help her, for me to not have any words to uplift her, her expressing her anger to me, not knowing how everything would go. It's hurtful.
I mean, again, everything he's talking about is stuff that was caused by him. Like, that's the common denominator here, is like, this stuff was your fault. None of this happens if not for you.
I want her to know, I believe God has a plan for everything, and it's about doing the best you can inside of God's will. Say what you want about me. I'm not gonna walk away from my children. I refuse to walk away from my children. I love all four of you. And that won't stop for nothing. No matter what. A lot of reference yesterday was made about death. In reference to opinions towards myself. I do not fear death. Not one bit. I do not fear death because I'm in Christ.
Again, death isn't really the thing he should be fearing at this point. He should be fearing his experience in prison for the next few decades. That's the thing he should be fearing. Like death should be a very, very welcomed reward. At this point, that's the best thing he has to look forward to.
Whether we believe it or not, at some point, we all have a date. Everyone on this planet has a date. In the word, it says that it is appointed to man once to die.
Oh, great. Another sermon from Darrell Brooks. This is great.
The way I see it, it's inevitable, so why fear it?
Keep that same energy for this prison sentence.
I'm 1,000,000% confident in where I'm going when this is all over. 1,000,000% confident. Regardless of what anyone thinks or says, I'm 1,000,000% confident in where I'm going. We all got to stand before the judgment seat of Christ at some point. All of us. Nobody's any better than the next person. Contrary to belief, I do not feel like I'm above anyone. I don't feel like I'm superior to anyone. I breathe air, I drink water, I eat, I go to the bathroom, I bleed just like anyone else. I'm no better. I'm a human being. I'm not a monster. I'm a human being that's been trying to figure out for 35 years. Questions that I've never got the answer to. I noticed yesterday in a lot of the victims' statements that a lot of the victims are going through the healing process. Believe it or not, I've prayed for all victims' family members for a year now to be able to make it through that process. But it is a process. It won't happen overnight. there was a big question of if I was paying attention, if, this, that, or the third, which I won't really get into. I definitely was paying attention. And I heard in a lot of those statements, people that were having their own mental health issues. Some recognizing what it was, others not so much. But that's what it was. A lot of things that you just can't quite wrap your head around. Believe it or not, you were talking to someone that's dealt with those same types of questions for a long time. Questioning life itself. Questioning what's the point of being here to go through all this pain, to go through all the doubts, feelings of inadequacy I can relate to firsthand. Being made fun of, being joked about, being jeered at, being bullied. Growing up, I can relate to all of that because I've been through it. Not knowing if you even want to wake up after you go to sleep. I've been through that. Wondering if you'll even be missed when you're gone. The weirdest hours of the morning, just sitting up and just finding something to stare at. Hoping that an answer may just fall out of the sky on you. Me, myself, I've, like I said, raised Christian, but it's been so many times through the years that I've doubted God. It's time. I think everyone in this room can say that. If you believe, you've doubted, you've questioned, you've wondered. Been in situations that just can't figure out why. How did I get here? What did I miss? What didn't I catch? What didn't I see? How did it ever get to this? How did it ever end up with this? At some point we've all been in that position. Obviously, in my shoes, it's a little different. I said before, for the people that don't have any understanding, I can't sit here and be what people would want me to be. You know, we're all individuals. We all have our own ways of looking at things, and we all have our own personalities or whatnot. That's what makes us unique. Is our individualism.
I'm scratching my head because this is the part that we get to where he's just saying a whole bunch of nothing, and it gets frustrating to listen to. But hey, we committed, and we're gonna keep going.
How one person may react to something, another person may feel the same exact way, but probably not react the same way. People can agree on certain things and still have a different approach.
What is your point? What's your point? That's the question.
Listening to all the victims yesterday that had the courage to speak and state their opinions and vent their frustrations and their anger and everything. I heard a lot of what should have been done, what could have been done as far as to the remorse. I apologize for not showing people what they wanted to see. I just ask that there be understanding to that there's a side out of the courtroom that's not seen. What's seen in the courtroom is just a small piece of the whole puzzle. Just a fraction. The majority of the time, I'm not standing in the courtroom or sitting in the courtroom. It's not a day. It's not an hour that goes by that I haven't thought about what's happened. That I haven't tried to wrap my head around how something like this could happen.
You're literally the only person in the world who has access to that answer. Nobody else knows. That's been the whole thing. Nobody else knows.
Where I haven't thought about the pain that you all are in. What was lost and in the fashion that it was lost. Contrary to what people may think.
You know, instead of saying contrary to what people may think, he should start saying contrary to what I've shown here during this trial, contrary to what behavior I've displayed here during this trial, this is how I actually feel. You know I've acted like a complete buffoon this entire time, but contrary to what my behavior has consistently shown, this is how I feel about the situation.
You get to a point though, and obviously it's different with me being in this position and people being on the other side of the coin, so to speak. It's a different position. On my end, you get to a point to where you're just tired. You get to a point where you've cried all the tears you can cry. You've prayed all the prayers you can pray. You never stop praying, but
Judge Darrell,
it's repetitive at this point. You get to a point where you're completely drained. You don't know what else you have to give. There was many court dates in the beginning of all these proceedings that I wasn't even sure if I can even come in the courtroom without breaking down.
which is so again ironic and cowardice how you can sit there and say that when the victims of the people that you ran over are coming into the courtroom and sitting there and having to face and relive the situation a whole year later. But you're talking about what you could handle and what you couldn't handle based on the situation that you caused. It's insane to me. It like this whole trial is just insane to me because of the lack of self-awareness. It's mind-boggling in Darrell Brooks' words.
It was times where I didn't even feel like I was going to make it through a court proceeding. When I did have representation, it was times where I told my representation, no, I don't. And that wasn't because I just didn't want to come in the courtroom. It was because mentally I could not handle it. I couldn't. Having to be prepped for everything that I was gonna walk into. Them telling me, you know, it's gonna be this kind of atmosphere and expect this and it's just like, wow. How am I gonna do this? I won't.
Kind of funny though, because the state's attorneys gave the families the exact same briefing beforehand. Like, hey, listen, it's going to be this type of environment. You guys have to control yourselves. Let us do our job, blah, 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 this and that. Like, nobody feels bad for you, man. Like, everybody got the same kind of briefing and the same kind of pep talk and all of that stuff. And it's all, again, because of something that you caused. Like, that's why everybody's here. That's why we're watching this video right now.
I want everyone to know, though, when you walk out of the courtroom and the cameras aren't rolling anymore, you don't have the world looking at you anymore. That's when you can feel like you're human again. When you can go back to your cell, drop your tears, pray, punch your mat if you're frustrated.
Yeah, because you can't punch Erica.
Sleep it off. Whatever you may choose to do. And I wonder how things would be different if the cameras was rolling then. when we remove all this courtroom, how would it be then? We've all done things in our life that we regret.
I don't get this constant need of Darrell Brooks to try to relate to everybody in the room. Like, nobody in this room has done anything close to what you did. Like, yeah, we've all done things that we regret. Yes, we've all said things that we regret. Yeah, some of us have stolen a piece of candy from our local grocery store. None of us have run over dozens of people at a Christmas parade. So there is no relation there that you can keep trying to make. There's no human connection here. Like, we're not seeing you as one of us.
That we're not proud of. That we don't know what we were thinking. That's been like a roller coaster for me in this year, a roller coaster. And obviously, just everyday life, some days are better than others. That's just life in general. Some days are just better than other days. You heard my best friend speak a little bit earlier. About I guess it would be more happier times, but even then, you put on a smile to hide the pain. Long before November 21st, 2021, long before that day, I was struggling. Long before.
You know, Judge Darrell says in her sentencing remarks that the psychologist made a note that yes, there has been evidence that Darrell Brooks may have suffered with some type of mental health issues in the past, but they only seem to be evaluated when he would find himself in legal trouble. So basically what that means is that he never went to get counseling or anything in order to help himself. He didn't have a record of that. He only had a record of being evaluated by mental health specialists when he found himself committing yet another crime and facing more jail time. So there really wasn't an effort on his behalf to rectify any of these mental health issues before they got out of hand. And straight up, Judge Darrell also said that the psychologist deemed that mental health issues did not cause him to do what he did on November 21st, 2021. So this argument that he's making fell on deaf ears.
Feeling dead inside. Then feeling hopeful. Then feeling depressed. Then feeling happy. Then feeling upset. Just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. %90 of the time not even knowing why you're going from point A to B. Why is it going like this?
Like, what is he doing?
So I think you do a lot of things to numb that. Some people have different things that help them numb it. Some people turn to drugs. Some people turn to alcohol. Some people turn to many different things. Some people isolate themselves. Some people, however you deal with it, it's how you deal with it. At that point in my life, I chose to put up a front. If no one seen me for how I truly felt, then there would be no questions. You see someone and they always have an upbeat appearance, or seem to be smiling, or seem to be in a joyful mood. There's no reason to like what is there a question? How much turmoil could it be? The first thing they would say is, every time I see them, they're okay. It's not okay. It's not.
I really wonder what's going through Judge Darrell's mind when she looks at him like this. I know earlier, you could tell she was just waiting for an apology. He gave kind of a gaslit apology. But like now, what is she waiting for? I'm curious.
But I do believe one thing, though.
What was that noise?
As long as you have breath in your body, no matter what you're going through, where you may be, what struggles you have, what you can't figure out, you have to find a way to press forward. You have to keep faith, and you have to press forward. I think the Apostle Paul said it best. The Apostle Paul said it best when he said, one thing I do, forgetting what's behind me and straining toward the upward call, of which Christ has taken a hold of him. Straining forward, which acknowledging that it's difficult, acknowledging that there'll be opposition, there'll be hurdles to jump, there'll be mountains to climb. It's not gonna be easy. Acknowledging that by saying straining to move forward.
Reverend's on fire today with these sermons, y'all. I'm telling you, man. He is doing his thing today, man. He's bringing out all the Bible verses. I wonder how many times he practiced this in his mirror the day before, as far as like all the Bible verses. I mean, I'll give him this. When you're sitting in prison for that long, yeah, you do get a lot of time to study your Bible and to memorize some Bible verses. So, who knows? Maybe he really did legitimately have these Bible verses memorized. And maybe he actually, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he actually knew these verses and was prepared to recite them in court.
That's what I've been learning. Is it frustrating that sometimes people mistake that for not caring? Yeah. It's very frustrating. As hard as it is, you cannot turn back the hands of time. You can't. As much as I wish I had the power to do that, I can't. So I have to look at life going forward, not backward. I have to look at reality.
Interesting.
I've moved past the actual tragedy of the day of November 21st, 2021, but I have not moved past uplifting this community in prayer, and I will continue to do that until it's my time to pass on. I won't stop uplifting the communities in prayer, the victims, the families. Regardless of how anyone feels, I will continue to pray for them, because that's what I want my heart to reflect. And I don't want it to be misinterpreted.
They ain't even listening at this point. I mean, they probably are listening, but they're not paying much attention. Like, you notice that at first, Attorney Witchow wasn't on his computer. He was trying to be as attentive as possible. Now they're just getting bored. Now they're just like, okay. Sooner or later, Judge Darrell will stop him from talking, and we can move on and get out of here for the day. I'm sure these families don't want to be here anymore. And he's just sitting here talking. So hopefully this is over soon.
I'm saying by saying I've moved past the actual day. To clarify that so there's no misconception, it's that none of us can go back and change what happened. We can't. But that doesn't mean that my life has to continue to be defined by that. I refuse to continue to live at that time, because that time is past. We can always say shoulda, coulda, woulda. Nobody knows what they'll do until they're in that situation. It's easy to say, I would have did this, I could have did this, I should have did this, I would have did that. You never know what you're gonna do until you actually there.
So is he saying with that statement that most of us would have ran over the Christmas parade too if we were in his shoes? I'm wondering, is that what he's saying? Because that's crazy.
Does anyone think I haven't asked myself that? Man, I should have. Why didn't I? What does it matter now? How many times can I pound my fist against something and say, why, how could this, why, how many times? Before you just like,
Bro, what was that? I don't understand what that noise was and why he felt like he needed to make that noise. That was weird.
you have to move forward. Forgiveness. Matthew 6:14 and 15. Forgiveness. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
See, this part is very interesting because what exactly is his vision for forgiveness? Does he just truly want them to forgive them and to forgive him in their hearts? Or is he saying, you guys need to let me go? Because that's what forgiveness would be in this situation. Because these are sentencing remarks, remember. So now he's reading a Bible verse about forgiveness. Okay, interesting.
But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. That's Jesus himself, God himself. I point no fingers towards anyone in judgment to say, how could you say this? And how, like I said before, how people process this tragedy is how they choose to.
Again, that choice thing. They're not choosing to process the tragedy in any particular way. You are forcing them to process a tragedy that should have never happened. The only person that had a choice that day was you. Everybody else had their back turned before a car plowed into them. So like, let's watch how we're saying things.
I could jump up and down and yell and scream about what was said in regards to me. But why? Everyone has to make their own peace with God. And that's what I've done. Regardless to what people think, I've done it. I don't want that to be confused with being at peace. It's a process, but I've made my peace.
What's the difference?
That is the only reason why I made the comment that I have a clear conscience. It was not pertaining to remorse. It wasn't mockery. It wasn't to thumb my nose at anyone. That wasn't what that comment was about. I've chosen to do that because it was needed.
He somehow believes he's still a victim in this situation. That's the interesting part.
It's easy to lose your way in a world because the world is, as we all know, it's a big place. All types of things are out there. All types of it's easy to get caught up in the world. I can't and I refuse to live the rest of my life trying to please other people. I still have a long way to go to get to where I need to be. But my life now is about pleasing God. It's about what He wants, not what I want. It's about what He wants, not what everybody else wants.
You know, I remember watching this live, actually, and having a very similar reaction. Because sometimes I'm sitting here and, you know, I'll watch Darrell Brooks videos and I'll be like, am I being too dramatic? Like, am I having a reaction that, you know, like, basically, should I calm down, you know, watching these videos? But then I remember, like, my authentic reaction to watching this for the first time, these sentencing remarks live, was very similar to what it is right now, which is just annoyance and when is this going to be over? And oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't actually go to this thing, because I almost did. I was in town. I was with my boy. We were doing our annual Green Bay trip that unfortunately we have to skip this year because he's getting deployed. But I just remember saying to him, hey man, you want to go to a sentencing? And I was telling him about the case and everything. And we decided not to go to it, and we instead just, you know, went and got some breakfast, watched this from like an IHOP or something like that. And it, you know, it was an all day thing. And then we get to this point and he's just talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, my God, like, when does it stop? And he just kept going. It was like 2 hours. We're an hour and a half through, so we can do this, guys.
I brought up God's will. Yet another comment that was taken out of context. A comment that, again, was not meant in a disrespectful manner in any way. Was not meant to thumb my nose at anyone in any way. It was the acknowledgement that God is in control of everything. Everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. He is in control. That's what that was pointed towards. That and that alone. For those of us who do believe, we've always been taught that God, His way is not ours. What He sees fit to do, we can't stand in the way of it. No matter how much we wish we could, we can't. Frankly, sometimes that sucks. I never thought I would be standing here not being able to enjoy a time with my family that anyone would enjoy with their family. People lost loved ones. I'm sure they feel the same way. They never expected to be here now because of something like this. That is not lost on me. To suggest that I don't care, out of everything that's been said during this whole year, that's probably the hardest one to digest. To suggest that I'm heartless.
Mr. Brooks, what do you think this court should do as far as the sentences?
This is what everyone was waiting on for 90 minutes. Judge Darrell to say something. Again, I don't like to criticize too much because ultimately everything she did led to his conviction and there's no grounds for an appeal, so she did a good job. She just didn't do a perfect job. And this was one of those examples. Letting this man spew nonsense for an hour and a half was a bit much.
Are concerned with all of these convictions.
Honestly, Your Honor, and I don't want this to be taken out of context. I believe there's issues with me attempting to answer that. And here's why. I'm still confused. I'm still confused on the true nature and cause of the charges. I don't understand them. I also believe a decision was already made before we even got here. And I could be wrong. That's not a shot. It's not a slight in any way towards Your Honor. It's not. And I don't want that to be taken out of context as well. I will say help is needed. When you've dealt with certain things as long as I have, We have so many questions about where to start. Where to start. We have so many questions about what can give you the help you need. Who can point you in the direction to get the help you need. There's so many things that you just, you don't know where to start at. Your Honor, I think that throughout these proceedings, and I
Oh, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. This is the part where Darrell tries to suck up to Judge Darrell. I love this part because she shuts it down immediately. This, I felt like, was one of her best moments from the trial.
I've noticed this, that you've been very observant. You've been very attentive. Regardless of me being frustrated with some of the things that has been, I can't do anything but look at what you have done, which is you have been very, very keen. I believe that still a lot of issues there. I believe that because of the issues I have, sometimes I may have said things that you probably didn't really understand what I was meaning by it. I'm not sharpest knife in the drawer. I think sometimes my mind probably works a little faster than I can articulate something or pronounce something or say something. Obviously it would be hard to top what was already said about you thus far. You've gotten an incredible amount, a credible amount of love for your job in this matter. Some even say superhero. Some people, I'm sure you know this, but some people have even dressed up as you for Halloween.
Mr. Brooks, I'm not looking for accolades from anyone. I'm looking here today to sentence you in this case, and I'm frankly more interested in your thoughts on that than your opinion of me and how I conducted myself during this trial.
It wasn't my opinion on that part. I
have a job to do today. It's not an easy one. There's 76 counts. I'd like you, if you can and if you want, to tell me how you think I should do that. That's what the victims have stated. That's what the state right? They provided their recommendation.
The only thing I can say is one thing that should be taken into account is the time that I've served.
Hilarious.
Been here a year.
All right. You know what? You're 100% right. It's only fair. You're only sentenced to 999 years now. Cool. Glad we could come to a compromise. Glad your recommendations have been met. And yeah, good. Good stuff.
That would pretty much negate count 76. So there's that. Your Honor, I'm confused. I don't understand the true nature and cause of the charges. So I can't really consent to being sentenced when I'm still trying to. I don't understand.
Consent.
It's not a delay tactic. It's not attempting to be disruptive. It's not intended to stop the proceedings. It's my honest opinion. I have trouble with comprehension. I can say with 1,000,000% certainty that everything as far as in regards to me, everything should be looked at in its totality. The mental health issues, I believe that you've seen them rear their head at times. I believe that. I know that you've seen that rear its head at times. I also believe that you recognize the need for the help that's needed. You've seen things as far back as my childhood, and I believe that you understand the certain needs that would benefit where to start. Me myself, I don't know. There's so many issues that I've been trying to address for a long time. A very long time. And I don't know where to start. I have no idea. I can tell you that I want to be able to get to a point in my life where I can have the ability to recognize before it happens, when something could become out of control, before an outside source can maybe pinpoint it and say maybe something's wrong. I would want to get to a point where I can be able to recognize the signs on my own. I want to get to a point where I don't have a mind that's jumping back and forth and all over the place, and these moves that go from here to here to here to here to here to here to here, and then it's like, oh, I'm cool, and then it's here to here to here to here. I want to get to a place where I can combat that. Your Honor, this has not been easy, and not just this, but life in general. It has not been easy. It's not easy to wake up every day and try to figure out how to stay grounded, or how to stay in a I don't want to say a box, but to be able to stay in a straight line, to be able to take life as it comes, to not only be able to cope with things. Things are gonna happen, problems happen. Life itself isn't easy. I want to get to a point, Your Honor, where I can be able to say, okay, it's okay. It's okay. I can be myself. I can say, you know what? You aren't the only person going through this. This doesn't make you any less than anybody else. I wasn't asked to be born this way, Your Honor. I wasn't. I was not. I don't understand it. But the fact of the matter is I want to get to a point of happiness again. To be able to be medicated and not care what people think. To be able to speak my truth without having to feel ashamed that some people may think of me lesser than a person because I have to be medicated for life, or because they feel like it's not normal.
Sometimes I really feel like maybe he's just forgetting what this trial is about, because, like, why is he talking about this? When really what you should be saying is, I want to address my mental health issues so that I'm not a danger to anyone around me anymore. But he can't say that because he's never thinking about anybody around him. He's only thinking about himself, how he's perceived, how his life is going to go. That's it. That's all he cares about. Any normal person in this situation would be like, yeah, well, whatever. I just don't want whatever happened on November 21st, 2021. I don't want to be in that position again mentally where I lash out and do something so stupid and so violent towards innocent people. I don't want that. Like, we're talking, if you want the focus to be mental health during your sentencing remarks, that should be the focus of it. Not, oh, I don't want to care what people think about me. Bro, it's not about you. It's about the people sitting behind you and what you did to them that day.
Which lends to the reason why I said not wanting to live to please anyone else anymore.
Never doing that in the first place.
But for me to be okay. Here. For me to be okay. Because I haven't been for a long time. I'm tired. I'm tired, Your Honor. I'm tired. Some days I don't know what's up or down. Some days I don't know. I want to know.
Mr. Brooks, it's going on 2 hours. I feel like we're starting to cover the same ground over and over. So I'm going to ask you again, because I'm really interested in your perspective. I want to know, as I consider and contemplate and finalize what to do in this case, if there are any sentencing recommendations you have on your own behalf to make at this time.
I just want to be helped. I don't. I don't want to live with inside this pain anymore. I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for. Your Honor, I really would like
Let me ask it this way, sir. 6 of these counts that you have been convicted of are intentional homicide charges. The options for the court are very limited. Life without the possibility of extended supervision. Life with the possibility of extended supervision as early as 20 years, that's the statute. And third, anything in between.
So, for those of you who don't know what that means, because I had to look it up myself, the extended supervision basically means that you would be let out of prison after a certain amount of time served. You'd be let out of prison, and you would you kind of be in a program similar to probation, but a lot stricter. And probation's pretty strict, but this one would be a lot stricter. So that's what extended supervision means. Ultimately, we know Darrell Brooks ended up getting life without the possibility of extended supervision, which basically means he will die in prison. He will never get out.
And then lastly, related to that, there's an enhancer of 5 years for each count based upon the jury answering that special verdict question, did you commit the offense of intentional homicide by using a dangerous weapon?
I mean, first of all, even if he did get the possibility of extended supervision, he would never be getting out anyway, because she made all the sentences consecutive to one another, which means served one after the other. So even if he did have the chance for extended supervision, it would have never happened. Like, we're talking as early as 20 years. You have 6 counts of first degree homicide. That's not even counting the recklessly endangering safety charges. You have 6 counts of vehicular homicide. That's at least 120 years before you'd be eligible for. So he'll be eligible for extended supervision at 160 years old if he were to have that on his sentence. Like, dude, you're never getting out.
Thoughts on that?
I don't.
Do you think you should spend the rest of your life in prison without ever seeing freedom outside bars? That would be extended supervision. Should these counts run consecutive or concurrent? Meaning one after the other, or serving them at the same time?
I think it's setting in. It's setting in for him now.
I didn't understand everything you said, but I did. I can't live a million years.
I understand that.
So I feel like I should be able to go somewhere where I can be helped, where I can be properly evaluated, where I can be properly medicated. If that is an extended period of a long time, at least I know that I'm getting what I need. Not what I want, what I need. At least then I would be able to say, it's okay. You can be you.
Here he goes again.
You can be grateful for the fact that you have experts, or I don't know if that's the right word, but you have people that know exactly what to do, that recognize exactly what needs to be done and what should be done. To be able to like I said, be properly medicated, which is extremely needed. I don't know if that answers.
I'll follow it up again. What I hear you saying, sir, is that you don't have a specific recommendation in terms of how long the sentences are, whether they're life, whether they're consecutive, whether they're concurrent, but you're asking me to take into consideration your mental health needs and your desire to get help. Would that be fair?
Yes. I would say I think it should be what you said. What was the term you used?
The extended supervision term, or consecutive versus concurrent?
Yeah. The concurrent.
Right. Serving sentences at the same time versus consecutive, one after the other.
Serving all together. My main thing is, like I said, regardless, is to not just be placed somewhere and just forgotten about. That doesn't help. Obviously, I don't know how that all works. But I know that it would greatly benefit me to be able to be somewhere where, like I said, I can properly evaluate it and medicate it with the things that I need. It could be something that I haven't even discovered yet, or not me myself, but it could be something that may be way near that could have helped me years ago that I probably wouldn't never have known up until this point, that could have immensely helped. I want the I want the opportunity.
And again, I think we're starting to repeat some of these topics that you've covered, and I understand what you're saying. And I want to
beat this. I want to beat this. I want the opportunity to beat it, to show that it can be beat.
No, you're gonna have the opportunity to beat it. That's all you're gonna be able to do is just beat it. You ain't gonna have nobody in there to beat it for you.
At this time,
I don't have to live like, you know. I want to show that regardless of anything, that there is still hope. I want to be able to show my children that regardless, you can rise up. You don't have to.
I believe I understand and comprehend your desire to have your mental health issues addressed and met. You've stated that multiple times. I understand that. I can certainly address that in my sentencing remarks here today. At this time, it's been over 2 hours.
Yes, it has.
I appreciate all of the words you've said here today and the fact that you've made a statement.
I apologize for the length. I didn't even
it's not about
realize.
It's okay. But at this time, I would like to take about a just shy of 20-minute break, come back.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take a break, all right? We're gonna take a break because we done. That was it. 2 hours. This video, this is a long video, but I know you guys like long form content, so I'm sure you won't mind. But yes, that was the sentencing remarks of Darrell Brooks, and as you can see throughout it, he talked about himself for most of the time. Talked about how he has been affected most of the time. Anytime he talked about how others were affected, he found a way to tie it back into himself. Just a narcissistic kind of individual, and he's right where he belongs. So man, we got through that. What did you guys think about that one? If you guys like long form content like that, let me know. Let me know in the comment section, and I'll find more long-term content like that to do. If that's something you guys are interested in, just let me know. That was fun. That was a lot. My God, I need lunch. I need a break. I need a nap. That was crazy. But okay. Like the video, share if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more great content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.